Well, they're looking to do big things to end this season. The Chihuahuas' first ever conference championship game, it's underway as we speak. We'll give you the latest on the score. Also, we are there today as a postal service driver was questioned by police. This as emergency crews had just pulled a woman from underneath the truck he was driving, also downtown. Some of your comments tonight on Facebook has one man saying, "Stop with your insensitive, cruel remarks," if you don't know this lady. Also tonight, 2 El Paso police officers in the hospital today. This ABC-7 video shows you what happened. That's that video. Also, developments in Doña Ana County.
He's been fully, really important. He's got the funds, he's got the resources.
Well, Doña Ana County leaders, they are reacting to the sheriff's claims that residents are losing out on services. Yet another story you'll see only on ABC-7 and the CW. Also, the controversy over fixing roads in El Paso and allegations of a city rep abusing authority. Tonight, we're uncovering the problem is more widespread than you might think. And what story has you calling out El Paso police? Brittany saying, "Are you serious? What kind of message are we trying to send here?" And also another message. Why do we have cops if they don't look for her? Well, they're talking about a teenage girl still missing, but the police department canceling an alert. We'll talk about that. Nicole, how about that weather?
Light to moderate rainfall tracking into Las Cruces. Just how much rain could we see in El Paso? That answer in Storm Track Weather.
It's all next on ABC-7 at 9. Get ready. You become part of the day's news right now.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC-7 at 9 on the El Paso Las Cruces CW.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on ABC-7 at 9 on the CW. I'm Bob Harp. The day's top stories coming up, including the latest on the Chihuahuas. Big game tonight. First, though, we want to talk to storm tracker Nichole Gomez, doing just what your title says. Tracking storm activity, right?
Absolutely. Currently, we have some light rain moving into Las Cruces. So we're going to talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. Not only that, but we're also going to talk about those temperatures. Another 90-degree day today, but we're tracking cooler temperatures, so we'll iron out all the details on what you can expect tonight, the rest of your work week in Storm Track Weather. Bob?
All right, looking good. Thanks so much, Nicole. El Paso's AAA baseball team begins its quest for a conference championship. The Chihuahuas right now taking on Fresno in a best-of-5 series. Game 1 right now in Fresno. Now, we actually have some highlights to show you. This is from Danny Mata in sports. Now, in the first inning, look at this play. That's by Chihuahuas pitcher Daniel McCutcheon. He does a great job of getting it up and snagging that ball to make that play at first base. And here he is again. McCutcheon has pitched well in some big games for the Chihuahuas. The next batter that McCutcheon would see, he would strike out, John Singleton. Now, here is the latest score that we have right now on the game. Fresno is up 1-0 in the bottom of the third. Of course, we will stay on top of this game. It's still early. Anything can happen. But again, the best-of-5 series. So stay with us throughout this half hour. We'll update you. And then, of course, on ABC-7 at 10, Danny Mata will have the latest as well. Hey, you can also listen to the game right now. Just go to 600 ESPN AM radio. Game 2 is tomorrow also in Fresno. Then the series comes to El Paso. That's Friday night at 7:05. And then we also have Game 3. That's when it is. Then Game 4 is scheduled, if needed, for Saturday night. And Game 5 would be Sunday afternoon. Go Chihuahuas. Very exciting stuff. Okay, this next story has you leaving messages like this one from Hector. Sad situation. It can happen to anyone, anywhere. You never know when your time comes. Well, we are working to get more information now on a woman who was hit by a U.S. Postal Service truck. That was this afternoon in downtown El Paso. It happened over at San Antonio and El Paso streets at about 2:30 in the afternoon. Now, we got this tweet from El Paso police. This was at about 2:45. Police investigating a pedestrian accident at San Antonio and Oregon, just down the street from El Paso. No PIO response. Since this tweet, police really haven't been telling us much. We did, though, have a crew on the scene within minutes after the woman was pulled from underneath the mail truck and then rushed to the hospital. Our crews there saying there was a lot of blood on the street. And we did have video showing Officers speaking with the driver of the mail truck and 3 witnesses. Well, the witness is telling us the woman was crossing the street when she was hit, and then the truck actually stopped right on top of her. Now, this story got a lot of you talking. Many of the comments were making light of the situation. A lot of jokes and some harsh comments as well. That did not sit well with Joaquin. He joined the conversation on our Facebook page, and he said this: "To all of you people with negative and funny remarks, do you have any compassion? You don't know this lady. I do. She might have been elderly, but she had all her senses. So stop with your insensitive, cruel remarks if you don't know this lady." And then Joaquin went on to say, "The doctor from the emergency room called saying a woman was hit, and the only cell phone number that they had or they found in her purse was ours. We are in shock." Again, we are efforting new information and confirming what Joaquin shared with us. So tonight, police still not telling us the woman's name or her condition. But as soon as we get anything, we'll let you know. And Joaquin, thanks for updating us as well. Montana, by the way, in central El Paso, open to traffic again tonight near Piedras. That is where police say 2 officers were hurt when a woman drove her SUV right in front of their oncoming patrol unit. Now, this happened just a few blocks from police headquarters, just after noon. ABC-7 video shows both vehicles were banged up, and the woman and the 2 officers were taken to a hospital. All 3, though, are expected to recover from their injuries. A police spokesman says the woman was turning onto Birch from Montana. As for the officers, as they approached her, she reportedly drove right into its path, their car, and then got T-boned.
Information on charges are pending, but it's likely that the driver of the SUV will receive a citation for failure to yield right-of-way for making the left turn in front of the patrol vehicle.
Emergency services, not what they should be in Doña Ana County. At least that is what the sheriff, KVIA, is saying tonight, calling a shortage of manpower a crisis.
We will answer calls that are life-threatening, calls out there. We're having to prioritize.
Only on ABC-7 tonight, Sheriff Vigil says his office is underfunded and everyone in Doña Ana County is feeling the pinch. But does it mean that your security in Doña Ana County is being compromised? Our New Mexico mobile newsroom crew went digging for answers and got a copy of a 4-page memo that details numerous activities that deputies will not be performing unless there is an imminent threat. Those cuts include not responding to warrants, local courts, or the detention center, calls on an interstate, checking on the welfare of children, youth, and families, or any medical calls. Now, the sheriff's office will now also respond with a minimum of 2 deputies for all calls involving any type of criminal violence. The slower response times, for some incidents anyway, all because Sheriff KVIA says his office is severely understaffed. Vigil says he does not have the money to pay the deputies higher wages and keep them on the force. He says he is short-staffed and in return simply has no choice but to cut those services.
We're having to prioritize because we're really spread out thin.
He's been fully funded, and that's really, really important. He's got the funds, he's got the resources.
The sheriff is saying that he is short by more than 30 deputies, and the county loses more than $1 million every year. Why? He says because he trains those deputies and then loses them to other departments in the area that pay them more money. Well, state police in Arizona tonight, they are on the hunt for someone they're calling a domestic terrorist.
Anytime that you have multiple shootings against American citizens on a highway, that's terrorism. They're trying to frighten or kill somebody.
Well, a string of highway shootings has Arizona on edge tonight over the possibility that there's a serial shooter on the loose. A truck window was shattered on I-10 in Phoenix today. It's under investigation tonight, but still no confirmation that it was actually the result of a shooting. No one was hurt. But 9 freeway shootings in 2 weeks already investigated. So if today's incident turns out to be a shooting, that would be 10 in just 2 weeks. Now, here in El Paso, the controversy over street paving, it continues tonight with City Rep Larry Romero taking criticism for allegedly changing the master list of projects to have more improvements in his district. But now we are learning that there were other projects added as well, and we continue our complete coverage tonight with ABC-7's Andrew J. Polk.
The original street project list was voted on by City Council back in 2012, but now the Capital Improvements Department says they've worked on about a dozen street projects this year alone that were not on that original list.
It wasn't until I got the call today from you, actually, that I was able to go out and search for that list.
District 7 City Rep Lily Limon says she had no idea that streets were being paved this year that weren't on the original list made back in 2012. The issue is complex. The original list of projects approved by City Council include Zion Street here in Northeast El Paso, a major thoroughfare for this neighborhood, but also getting worked on, not included on the original list, includes Yosemite, a block-long street just off of Zion. One of the other streets planned to have work begun on it, but that was not on the original 2012 list, Polk Avenue here in north central El Paso. This also happens to be the street where Representative for District 2, Larry Romero, lives.
So after doing a tour of our districts, we told them, okay, well, we think these are the streets that you should be concentrating on first, whether it was because they were in worse shape than others, or whether it was because strategically for our district it was more important that there be good access.
Romero responded to questions about his involvement in this process Monday. He said city staff asked for his input and toured the district with him. Limon and Robinson say the same thing.
I have no knowledge as to how it happened.
But Robinson and Limon say that they were then waiting to hear what would happen with their input.
You go out and actually see the street and you say, well, wait a minute, this street is worse off than the street that has a higher priority. Yes, I've asked that, but in no way, in no time have I directed anyone to do anything.
But I'm still waiting. I mean, that just never happened, even though these are critical streets.
Capital Improvements Director Monica Lambrania says that the process by which these streets were added to the list remains unclear, and she's working to now develop a process by which this can be cleared up in the future, and in the meantime, she stopped all work on those added streets for now. In downtown El Paso, Andrew J. Polk, ABC-7.
Thank you, Andrew. And speaking of the roads tonight, here's a live look at traffic, courtesy of our TxDOT traffic cameras. Look at that beautiful shot over at I-10 and Airway. I personally love those lights. Driving into them looks pretty cool. I-10 and Paisano, no problems there as well. Storm track weather, we have Nichole Gomez tracking some storm activity. For now, here in the city, looks like the roads are dry.
So far, it's nice and dry, but I'm expecting some changes tonight and tomorrow. Let's take a look at Doppler radar. Just northwest of us, looks like most of the rainfall is tracking into Las Cruces and could slowly make its way into our region. So we'll zoom in a little tighter here, where you can see around El Paso, the Las Cruces area, again around Hatch, Radium Springs. It is moving in a southerly direction. It's very slow moving, so I don't expect any heavy downpours. But again, we could see some light rainfall. And currently on Doppler radar, our model's showing us Santa Teresa currently seeing some light rainfall. Again, not seeing anything too heavy, but we'll travel towards the south around Fabens, Tornillo, along I-10. And that's where we're seeing the heaviest storm activity. But coming up, we'll talk about the cloudy conditions because the clouds will stick around. It was a little cooler today, but we still hit the 90s. We'll talk about cooler temps tomorrow, rain chances, and if we could possibly drop to the 80s. That's all coming up. Bob?
All right, thanks so much, Nichole. You did definitely feel that cool down today. Hey, the search for a Northeast El Paso teenager has you talking tonight, or I should say the search that's no longer on. Police canceled the missing person alert late this afternoon. 15-year-old Karen Jeanette Gallardo is now considered a runaway. Her mother reported her missing yesterday afternoon when the girl did not come home from Irvin High School. Now, when I said this one has you talking tonight, boy, I really mean it. Nichole, that discussion at the KVIA.com Facebook page, it is intense tonight. A lot of folks simply not happy with the El Paso Police Department tonight.
That's right, Bob. Like Yvonne, who tells us she's still a minor and should be at home with her parents. She can't be allowed to make grown-up decisions when she's just a child. And Michelle says either way, they should be looking for her. Sarah continues the conversation with she's underage. Janelle says this makes no sense. If she's 15, how can the law decide she's a runaway? And even so, why aren't they still looking for her? She's still a child.
And George is saying, so when does a 15-year-old become a volunteer runaway? Brittany, so just because she's not missing, we're just going to let this teen go? Who cares if she makes it to a safe place or is not being exploited? Sarcasm there. Jolene, how do they know? They should still be looking for her.
And Hayden says if she's voluntarily ran away, she's deemed to not be a missing person. Therefore, they won't keep wasting money on the search. Lupita says, how sad. I feel for the parents. And Jonathan, just wasting everyone's time.
And Virginia saying teenagers are so annoying. Some are going to cause heart attack and strokes for us parents. Seriously. And finally from Sergio, plot twist. There's more to this story. Come on, people. Hey, tell us what you have to say about this right now at the KVIA.com Facebook page. And again, if you are just joining us, we do know the dog days of summer, they're winding down, right? But you can't say the same for all the hype around the guys from downtown El Paso, the little guys. The Chihuahuas, of course, but they're playing for the big time, the conference championship. That game is underway, 1-0. The bottom of the third is the score right now. We'll talk about that. Plus,
yeah, and that speaks volumes about this town and how emotionally invested they've become in our team.
the series against Fresno will make its way back to El Paso. Tonight, we look at preps to keep Chihuahuas fans fed and energized so they can punk out the other team. That's what I'm talking about, Nicole.
Me too. Rain chances will continue tonight into tomorrow. We'll take a look at the latest future track computer model coming up in Storm Track weather.
But punk out the other team with some class, right, Nicole?
Right.
This is ABC 7 at 9 on the CW. You don't just watch the news, you are the news. We'll be right back.